Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Sorta Sophisticated, the best podcast on the planet the last time I checked, right, Amanda?
How many times are you checking?
I don't know. I've only checked once.
Oh, okay, fair.
If you remember right, this is where we do a whole bunch of boring-ass research on some pretty cool topics. Also, you can be more cultured and curious and show off to all your friends by sounding like a badass.
Or maybe just sounding sort of sophisticated.
Totally. I'm Pete, of course, and that was my favorite co-host who just butted in again. That was Amanda.
And for the record, you butt in 1,000 times more than me in every episode, so slow the roll.
So you're right. So like when you're like editing and I'm like listening, like I am a super butter inner.
You like to talk over me.
Let's do PSA. I apologize for butting in. I'm going to do it again in this episode. I'm going to try like hell not to. But there you go. You know what that is?
What?
It's going to be one of my New Year's resolutions to stop doing that. Yes, it is.
You have a zero probability.
Okay. This will be the last butting in episode. Well, I'm not going to say it. This is going to be the last butting in episode, and then I'm going to reduce by 50%.
Okay.
Okay? So I'll still butt in, but not as much.
I guess we're going to see how this goes.
Oh, we are.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't want to butt in. Sorry, were you going to say something else? Okay, my
Challenge
bad.
accepted.
Right. So if I have one New Year's resolution, what are your New Year's resolutions, please?
I know. It came way too fast. Just
give me one. Anything. Hey, we got like a day left, so you got to like hurry. Go to the gym.
No.
Work out.
No. So
drink more.
I did. I know. I talked to Trent about what I want to do.
What?
So 1 weekend a month, I want to purge one room of the house. So that by the end of the year, our whole house is like purged.
It's clean.
Clutter-free.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have 12 rooms in your home?
Yeah, bathrooms count.
Okay. I like this. That is an excellent New Year's resolution, and I might be adopting that.
You should.
If you don't mind. That is New Year's resolution
already are
for me.
super neat and super clean, and you do get rid of stuff.
You know what I need to do? I need to do better. All right.
Maybe I should just hire you to come to my house. Anyways.
Right. Enough of this like New Year's resolution nonsense. Launch us. What are we talking about today?
Well, today I think we should dive into a little slice of American culture. Sound good?
It does, but I'm trying not to interrupt.
This is not going to go so well.
Right?
This might be a bad resolution, Pete. Well, I think it's super appropriate for this time of year because it's right around the corner, the Rose Parade.
Oh, I see what you just did there, too. Right around the corner?
Literally.
Right? Like, you're right funny. There. Like, it's the parade is coming around the corner. You weren't even really making a joke, were you?
I surely was not.
You weren't?
No. Nope.
Oh, my God. Kill me. It's so sad. My humor's lost on you. Okay.
Not all the time. Just sometimes. Yeah.
Sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But, like, who really doesn't love a good parade, right? Come on. Those big-ass floats covered in flowers. By the way, when they, like, zoom in on TV, they don't all look like flowers. There's other stuff on there for sure. Like, seriously. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, like the metal frame that holds it.
No, like, it's not flowers. It's something else. Wait, okay, hold on.
I have a story for you about the Rose Parade.
But I have a quick story. You have a story?
I do have a story.
Okay, what's your story?
So, I've only been to the Rose Parade once, and I was little, and my mom had heard that you had to go out the night before and camp. So we legit slept on the sidewalk waiting for the Rose Parade. And that was the moment where I decided I hated the Rose Parade.
And you'll never go again.
I will never go again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's terrible. I would never do that just for that reason alone.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you actually have to, though? Like, spend the night to get a good spot?
My friends went at 3 o'clock in the morning or like something like that. And they got a spot, but I can't imagine. Yeah, I would assume you would have to.
See, no. See, I have zero like desire to actually do that as an adult. But hold on. But back to your whole they're not all flowers thing.
Thank you. What?
You know they have a rule for that.
Of course they have a rule for it. What's the rule? I don't even know the rule.
The actual rule states that every visible surface of a float must be covered with something called natural materials. So it doesn't just have to be flowers. It can be anything natural, like seeds, leaves, bark, fruit, vegetables, or even crushed or dried plant material like mossy stuff. When you see the close-ups on TV, it's probably nuts or rice or natural.
Okay, so that makes way more sense all of a sudden. So it shouldn't really be called like the Tournament of Roses. It should be called like the Organic Material Parade then.
Yeah, but that sounds real stupid.
But that's what it is. Because I remember when I was looking at this stuff, Amanda, like some of it looked like cardboard. I don't even know what it was. So I'm looking at like bark.
Recycled.
Okay.
Recycled cardboard.
Whatever. I would argue we're changing the name of the Organic Material Parade. Okay, fine.
I still think that's stupid. But, hey, Pete, how does learning about the Rose Parade make us more cultured?
Great question.
Pop quiz.
Great question. And I have absolutely no idea. I just like watching all the nervous horses take dumps everywhere on television. And then they try to like pan away really fast, but they can't. And so you see it happen anyway.
Can you just be serious for once in your
A
life?
lot of times I just pause it right there. Okay, fine.
You're so gross.
Amanda, it's about tradition. Tradition. 136 years of tradition, to be exact. And it connects us with history and community and the whole idea of how celebrations evolved in America in the first place.
And if I may add,
You may?
Oh, you interrupted.
I did.
One could argue, though, it also depends on our appreciation for the arts and innovation, right?
Of course it does, because you're all into the arts and innovation. That makes sense.
I actually think it's the perfect mix of sophistication and absurdity, which, let's be real, is kind of our sweet spot. Am I right?
Oh, you are right. You are right indeed. No one, Amanda, I would say no one, does cultural phenomenon quite like us.
Also, it's
What?
still a totally big deal in pop culture, so it fits perfectly into our podcast.
It does.
And P.S., are you watching this year?
So, yes, I'm not going because I'll never go, but watching, totally. So I wake up, I make breakfast, I turn it on while I cook, and then all of my...
Oh, I guess your TV is there. I'll say how
Yeah,
can
right
you...
right
But
there.
your back is to the TV.
No, I'm putting it... Well, because I'm like, futzing around the kitchen.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay,
They're
okay.
right. If I'm actually cooking, you're right. All my kids come downstairs, they're all hungover, and at some point they sit on the couch under a blanket and they watch with me, and it's super fun.
And they just eat all the food.
All the food that I made, yes, and then I have to clean up also. It's terrible.
Oh, you do a lot.
Oh, well.
You know what else you do?
What?
Word of the day.
Word of the day.
What is it today?
Okay, so today I actually stole a word of the day because it was super appropriate. Are you ready?
Okay.
Okay, today's word of the day is florilegium.
I'm sorry.
Florilegium.
Flora.
Let me say that. Florilegium.
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 Like flora.
Flora.
Like flowers.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Legium. I have no idea. It's a Latin word that means a collection of flowers.
So legium would mean collection.
Okay. Apparently it does. A legium of flowers. Yes. Yes.
Huh.
A legium of flora.
Okay. I think you did that on purpose.
I totally did.
Good work. Totally
Yes.
on theme. You made my job super easy. Thanks
You're
very
welcome.
much.
You are welcome.
All right. So if we're going to get into the good stuff, do we start with history? Should we do the 136-year history of the Rose Parade?
1 year at a time?
No.
Okay.
That would take too long.
Okay, fine.
So then why don't you start at the beginning and make it quick, and then I'll fill in with the recent stuff, because that's, when my attention span kicked in
Kicks
for
in,
it.
and that's when you're more interesting than I am. I hear you. Okay, deal. We got to go back. 19th century, people. 1890, to be exact.
Which
Okay.
is like, to think about that this has been going on since 1890
Long
is
time.
insane.
Yes, long ass time, right?
Insane.
We only had 42 states. I looked it up. We didn't even have all of our states yet, and we were doing this. Benjamin Harrison, shout out to Benji Harrison. I think it was National Parks or something when we did an episode on him. He was the president of the United States when this started. And fun fact, National Park episode, if you remember, we only had one national park at the time in 1890.
Yellowstone.
Yes, one. That's crazy. That's how old this was. Like, dinosaurs might have still been roaming the earth.
Wait, hold on.
Whoa,
Time out.
what?
Have you seen on the TikTok where it shows you when this happened and this also happened at the same time?
Yes.
It blows my mind every time.
Yes.
It's kind of one of those things.
This is exactly what's going
Yeah.
on. I know. I like to give it some perspective,
Well,
right?
I
So
think
we
it's a
have
good
an
one.
idea. I
It
know,
is a good
totally
one.
cool.
But also, I will re-say again, didn't know Benjamin Harrison was the name of a president. Okay, continue.
Now we know. Okay. So it's like December 1889. And as usual, like 3/4 of our country is covered in snow. And I don't know who wants to live there. But anyway, out in Pasadena, it's like this sunny little haven of like warmth and light and everything excellent. Like a womb, right? That's what Pasadena was like in 1890.
Okay.
And everyone is either at the beach or playing in their yards or having backyard barbecues without freezing their tits off. So out of nowhere, some group of East Coast transplants who call themselves the Valley Hunt Social Club, the VHSC, Valley Hunt Social Club. They decide they want to show off all the gorgeous weather and want to make their friends totally jealous back home.
Also,
What?
is it true
What?
that there's really 3/4 of the country in snow?
I have no idea. I sort of made that up for this, but like a lot of people, right? Like, think about it. I don't know a lot.
I mean, I've always lived here, so it's always
Yeah.
nice and sunny and warm. Anyways.
Oh, well.
Oh, sorry. I digress. How do they make their friends jealous back home? Did
Okay.
they just send postcards?
Pictures?
Pictures?
postcards would have been a lot better because then we wouldn't have had to wait.
Was there the post office?
Then we wouldn't have, yes, there was the Pony Express. We wouldn't have had to sit and wait in freezing cold weather at 3 o'clock in the morning, or in your case, the night before, if they would have just sent postcards.
That's fair.
But they went big, like big. Like they organized a parade. Well,
obviously.
because that's where this is going. Right. But not like just any parade, like a parade to rule them all. Like the One Ring from Lord of the Rings. A parade that would celebrate California in all its glory with flower floats and horse-drawn carriages and a bunch of marching bands and anything else they could think of.
Or find.
They just threw it all in, right?
I mean, go big or go home.
Totally. And they decided to call it the Tournament of Roses, which, let's be honest, sounds way fancier than parade. And the first one happened on January 1st, 1890.
Yeah, but why did they call it the Tournament of Roses? Where did it come from? I know you said like flowers and horse-drawn carriages, but...
No, I GTS that. Okay, so I guess these Valley Hunt, like, socialites wanted it to match the idea of a grand European festival. Or, like, you remember the medieval jousting tournaments they used to have, like, way back in England? Like, back then in Europe and England and everywhere else?
Yeah.
I guess Europe is in England, but you get my point. But instead of knights in armor, they wanted to use floats and flowers.
Huh.
Yeah.
So, do they joust?
So, yes, totally. So, right. So,
wait,
the first
they
one,
jousted in the first one.
yeah, they actually did. Okay. So, like,
Okay.
I knew you were just trying to make a joke on me there, but it like totally didn't work. Okay. So, the first one wasn't just a parade. It was actually like a whole day full of events. So, it all started like with the parade, but then after that was over, they absolutely had jousting matches. Is it matches? I don't know. Do you say jousting match?
Rounds? I don't
Jousting
know.
round. Okay, I don't know. They jousted. And they also had track and field races. They had tug of war competitions. It was like a spectacle. And like, first one, Amanda, 2,000 people showed up to the first one. Like, kind of a big hit for being the first one.
Sounds like it. I do love medieval flair in SoCal. What's the closest thing we have? What is that called?
It's the Rose Parade. That's what we're talking about.
No, the Rose Parade doesn't have medieval flair anymore.
Medieval times? Are you about to talk about medieval times restaurant?
No, not medieval times. The other one where everyone dresses up.
Oktoberfest?
No. They dress up like medieval, and they like have the bustiers, and their boobies are all out, and they wear like the little flower crown with the little.
No idea. And if there were boobs out, I would know.
It's a whole thing. You go to it. I'm gonna look this up while we go. Anyways, fine. Moving on. When did the floats join into this medievalness?
I mean, like, kind of from the start. I mean, at first they were mostly just like the horse-drawn carriages covered in roses because that was the whole spectacle. But like by the 1920s, when cars like were more prevalent and available, floats got motorized. The competition got nuts. And it was like, let's go. We need to have big, insane floats. If they could engineer it, they were trying to do it.
Also, P.S.
What?
The Renaissance Fair. That was what I was thinking of.
Oh my God.
Whatever. Well, if they were doing it, how many people were doing it then?
Oh my God. Like hundreds of thousands already.
What? You said 2,000.
No, right. But no, I'm like talking about like in the first like 10 or 15 years. Like it took off fast. Like attendance shot up. So it started in 1890, like I said, 2,000 people. Then 10 years later, by the turn of the century, there were 15,000 people already going by 1900. By 1910, Amanda, 50,000 people were showing up.
Like in person?
In person. And by 1920, when they started automating these floats, like with cars and everything, 200,000 people were showing up. So I figured by the end of the 20s, it was like probably already closing in on 500,000 people all the way back then.
I mean, in 30 years, that's crazy.
It's insane.
And I'm guessing it doesn't take very long before corporate sponsors start getting involved and wanting to put their name all over things.
Oh, totally. Right. For sure. I mean, it happened before then, like where they got involved. But like by the 50s, I think every float like officially had a sponsor, which then
because now they're on TV.
Right. Which, of course, just perpetuated the whole competition thing. And then more money was thrown in to outdo each other and make like the most creative and over-the-top floats like on Earth.
All right, but hold on. I have a question.
What?
Can we have a timeout?
Total television timeout. Go. First timeout. You have 2 timeouts remaining.
Okay.
Okay.
But what about the Rose Queen?
The Rose Queen. What about her?
I don't know. Like, tell us how that whole thing started anyways, because you haven't mentioned her yet.
I already talked too much. And you know what? You're already interrupting me. So I'm going to take a drink. You give me the details on the iconic Rose Queen you speak of.
I mean, she is very iconic. And I'm surprised you haven't mentioned her yet. So that tradition didn't actually start with the first Tournament of Roses in 1890. It did, though, start in 1905.
Nice.
And the idea is that each year a group of judges would select what they called a 7-member royal court from like thousands of applicants based on qualities like poise, personality, public speaking ability, and community involvement. And then from there, they picked the Rose Queen to represent the court, and the other 6 were called princesses, kind of like homecoming,
Okay,
but like for adults.
so like a beauty pageant? Dude, seriously? Like we're still doing this in 2025? That's like super sexist. What are you talking about?
So it's not a beauty pageant at all, Peter. And I mean this in the nicest possible way because, I love you and you're just kind of being a little misogynistic at the moment. But I'm going to save you and tell you just to stop right now.
Uh-oh. What did I do?
Well, you called it a beauty pageant. It's not really a beauty pageant because beauty pageants in general are designed to be specifically about the appearance. And I would totally agree they should be criticized for perpetuating these ideals. They're historically prioritizing physical beauty over everything else. And they're basically objectifying women and reducing them to their value of physical attractiveness. However, for the Rose Queen, the selection process focuses on the qualities I said earlier if you were listening, like intellect, leadership, public speaking, and community service. It has absolutely nothing to do with physical appearance. So the fact that you didn't really hear that the first time means you need to listen better, be better,
Oh my God.
do better.
I love you. Calling me on my shit. I will do better.
Your brain just goes to like beauty pageants.
It does
I think
because
we hear women and like.
No, that's bad. You're right. Okay, I'm sorry. And thank you for the explanation. That totally makes sense. I totally get it. Not only am I not going to interrupt you, I have a new New Year's resolution. I'm going to be less misogynistic.
Okay.
I'm going to try hard.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, then you'd also be surprised to know that the Rose Queen's job starts way before the Tournament of Roses parade.
Wait, what do you mean?
Like both her and her court have to attend tons of events and functions that support a bunch of different organizations before actually participating in the parade on New Year's Day.
Oh wait, I did not know this.
Work.
So this is like a job. This is like a year-round job.
It is like a job, but I think it's not paid.
But it's still, but like
volunteering.
Okay, but it's still badass right
Yeah.
there. Okay.
I mean, it's hard work.
I thought you just showed up and got on a float. Now now I feel like a total asshole. This is like awesome.
I mean, they're kind of
Okay.
like they put in their dues.
You know what? I feel a little more sophisticated. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay, getting back on track. But before you get back to all your history stuff, I do have another question. Did the parade actually run for the last 136 years consecutively? Like through all the world wars, pandemics, all that other stuff? Because Oktoberfest and the Kentucky Derby got canceled a few times, but we just kind of count through it. So
yeah, you're kind of right. Okay, so actually, Rose Parade, a Tournament of Roses was canceled, but really only twice. So not as much as Oktoberfest. It made it through World War I. It also made it through the pandemic of 1918, like the whole influenza thing. But then during World War II, it was canceled for 4 years in a row.
Wow.
From 1942 to 1945, out of respect for the war effort and to conserve our resources.
Well done. Makes sense.
Right? So in general, I'm saying it's still pretty badass. It made it through the whole Great Depression. And that's where they got like the ideas of seeds and dried flowers, because roses were way too expensive. So super industrious and creative. Both show.
That is super interesting. How about COVID?
Yes, COVID, it did. That was the only other time. They canceled the 2021 Rose Parade because of COVID, if you remember, and pivoted and ran a special about the history of the Rose Parade and the spirit of community.
I totally didn't see it, but it probably was something pretty cool to watch because I guess it's like perpetuating the whole idea behind the Rose Parade in the first place, which is the spirit of community.
Dude,
right?
you could like totally. You could probably catch it on YouTube or something if you wanted to. Anyway.
I mean, it probably could, but
right. But you have better things to do.
You
need
do the
to
watching.
support.
You do the watching.
Okay, I don't think you're being very supportive of our episodes. Okay.
Maybe I'll watch it. Maybe.
Okay,
we're gonna switch gears then.
Again? Okay, great.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so fun to try to keep up with you.
That just ended on a sour note. So, okay, so if we're doing an episode on the Rose Parade, then we have to talk about the Rose Bowl game because they kind of go together.
Oh, they totally go together.
So when did they officially team up?
Okay, so great segue. That's S-E-G-U-E,
Stop it.
just to be clear, everybody. Okay, thank you for being a good sport.
Recall joke.
Right, totally. The first ever Rose Bowl game started in 1902. And yes, it was specifically designed to be part of the Rose Parade's festivities. Yeah, so remember way back when they did the jousting, like at the beginning?
In 1890?
Yeah. So like 12 years later, they're like, okay, enough of this. Let's do something else exciting for people to stick around after the parade was over.
And that's when they went from jousting to football?
Yes, totally. And fun fact, the very first Rose Bowl game was played between the University of Michigan and Stanford Cardinal. And Michigan totally crushed Stanford. 49-0.
That must have hurt. That's not much of a game.
It was not at all. It was terrible. So the people who like marketed it and were like totally behind the whole thing in the first place thought it was so bad that they stopped it after 1 year and decided to do chariot races instead.
I'm sorry, what? Chariot races?
I know,
In
totally.
like the Forum?
They did. Not the Forum, but yes, like the Forum, but like now they're doing them just out here in Pasadena. I would have totally done the same thing. It was 49-0. I'm sure everybody was totally bored. It sucked. It's not like today's football games with like concession stands and like tailgating and everything. Like it was probably kind of miserable. And like, think about it. It wasn't like all these fans flew out from Michigan to watch it or anything. They didn't even like have commercial airlines yet. So it was probably just a bunch of like pissed off Californians watching Stanford lose. So why not chariot races? So they go on for like 15 years until cars and like car racing started. And then they had to rethink everything because chariot races started sucking and sort of died out. So in 1916, they went back to football. And this time it stuck. So here we are, 110 years later, still playing the granddaddy of them all at the Rose Bowl, baby.
And now, of course, the Rose Bowl is iconic in its own right.
Oh my God, for sure. Like the current one we know today. Do you know when it was built?
No.
1922. And not only is it hosted like the official Rose Bowl for like ever now, but like a ton of other huge events. The FIFA World Cup, thank you very much. It's been played there. The Olympics, and some of the most legendary concerts ever.
Also, fun fact.
What?
The UCLA Bruins football team practices and
Uh,
plays at the Rose Bowl
Shout out to the UCLA Bruins.
Yeah.
That's right. Let's
since
go.
1982.
That's good. That's right. How did I not add that in there? Job well done. Okay, back on track, people. Let's talk floats.
Okay.
So I did the general history on the parade. So you got to do me a solid and do the history. I guess more like evolution of floats. So lay it on me. I need to know like how they've gotten so insane since 1920.
Okay, it's still one of my life goals to go do like putting the flowers into floats.
Oh, volunteer.
You can volunteer.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, because
Call
it's
to-
a whole thing. It's
One
a
of
whole
our.
thing.
I have an idea. In our call to action section, like when we do it at the end, make sure I add that in.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
So if you go all the way back to the olden days, they were pretty simple, kind of like you said, just carriages or wagons covered in roses. But it didn't take long for technology to take over and shit got real serious. So by the 1920s, after the invention of the automobile, they started to add all sorts of mechanical features to the float. And by the 1950s, it was full-blown hydraulics and animation, partly probably thanks to Walt Disney.
Oh, shout out to Walt. Gotta love animatronics and
Yeah.
hydraulics and all that cool stuff.
You gotta get that wow factor in. And now today, it's just insane. Like floats literally cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to build. And some corporate sponsors like Disney or Honda, they spend more than $1 million on
$1
the float.
million on a float.
Yeah,
On a float for one parade.
it's insane.
Oh my
It's
God.
all just for the cred, man.
Oh my God. Whatever.
Okay, so these ones are all constructed on massive steel frames pulled by hidden cars or trucks that are underneath. And as a rule, like we said earlier, they must be covered entirely in the natural material. So flowers, seeds, bark, leaves, you name it, whatever's organic material and whatever you can get your hands on, it goes on the float.
It's like a giant forest on wheels. I swear to God. Wait. What was our word? Floor jump?
Floraligium?
Floraligium. It's like a giant floraligium on wheels. It's like a collection of flowers.
Good job. Well played. Well
okay.
played.
Okay, wait. No, I have a story.
Do you have a story?
I do.
Okay.
So I knew a guy at work.
Uh-huh.
Like I used to work with him years ago. He volunteered. He was one of the drivers of a float. Like, so whatever, like, let's say it was like the city of Los Angeles, and he like got in with them. And so he would drive underneath the float, in the little car.
That's cool.
Yes. And he did it for like 20 years and he didn't get paid,
That's
but he would,
volunteer.
yeah. So he would go up like the night before and like, you know, be organized, make sure that I knew the route and all the stuff and everything. And then did the whole thing. It was super cool. So here we are. You and I don't even want to go watch the damn parade.
No.
And this dude
But
is
that's
like
fun, right? Like you're driving a float in the
2
parade.
miles an hour and you can't, like, okay, let's be honest. Nobody sees him down there.
But
They don't
that's
even,
much different
probably-
participating
he's
in the
sweating
parade.
his balls off. Who
Nope.
knows? Have you seen Ace Ventura, Pet Detective,
I
when
have.
he tries to come out that butt of the rhino? And he's like sweating, like, and he's naked and sweating. And he's like, do you know that? That's what I imagine
I
my
think I
friend was.
blocked that part out.
That is what my friend was doing underneath in the car underneath the float. Okay, anyway.
Okay.
Sorry. Go.
Trivia time.
What? What? We have a new segment called Trivia Time?
Yeah.
What do we got?
Yeah.
Go.
Ready?
What?
Do you have any idea how long it takes to build one of these floats?
I have no idea.
Just take a guess.
A long ass time. 3 months.
Try again.
More or less?
More.
4 months.
Okay, try over a year.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Holy crap. Like, they're already planning like 2026s right now?
Yes, it takes thousands and thousands of hours to build, and it's all done by volunteers, and it's like one little tiny seed at a time. So yes, it
Oh,
takes
kill me
like
now. I'm not doing that. It sounds like the most stressful arts and crafts project ever. Like total PTSD from third grade art class. Kill me.
well, and
What?
they like take it even more serious than just that. Have you ever heard of flower wars?
Absolutely not. Flower? What the hell? A flower war? That sounds like some shady backroom shit between serious float parade designers. Pedal to the metal, baby. Burn rubber. What's going on?
Not really. It was actually between competing parades back in the day in Pasadena.
Wait, there was another parade. What's going on?
There was. You missed it. So yeah. So for a few years in the 20s, a rival group to that Valley Hunt Social Club we talked about earlier. So they get together and totally start their own parade because they didn't like the way the Hunt people were running, right? The Tournament of Roses.
Whoa, some shit's really going down here.
Yeah, totally. And they called it the Chrysanthemum Parade instead of the Rose Parade. And it was held in Glendale, California, which is almost next door to Pasadena.
That is crazy. So, like, wait. So there's no roses available because of the rose parade. So they go and buy up all the chrysanthemums?
I mean, that kind of tracks, right?
Holy crap. So, I mean, this is just like 2 parades of florilegium combined.
Yes.
This is crazy.
It was. And it was a good idea because they figured if Pasadena was capitalizing on all of this, then why couldn't Glendale?
I guess.
But since it was really just a copycat of the Rose Parade, and that had already been going on for like 30 years, the Chrysanthemum Parade sort of fell off into oblivion because, for one, it wasn't unique enough, and two, it was way too close to Pasadena in the first place, and nobody wanted to go.
So it sort of seems like the War of the Roses and chrysanthemums was sort of over before it even could get started.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's so wild, though. I mean, good on them for like trying to be innovative and try. Like, I mean, I know they were copycatting, but like, I get the good try, but like just.
Yeah.
I
Well
wonder if
played,
I
but
wonder if
not.
they would have kept it going like longer. Like, I guess it was just too expensive.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, if
super
no one
interesting.
shows up, you can't keep it going.
Okay, so what was that called? The Tournament of Chrysanthemums?
No, this
my God.
Chrysanthemum Parade.
Oh, that's crazy. Okay, fine.
Well, that's all I really got. So I guess it's time for fun facts.
Time to wrap. Like already? That was fast.
I mean, you must have been having a good time because now it's fun fact time.
Okay, fine.
I finished. So now it's fun facts.
When you're done, we go to fun. That's how this works.
Yeah.
You don't even check to see if I have anything left.
No, you told me you didn't. So
I
now it's fun
have
fact.
a lot of things I'd still like to say about the Rose Parade.
Okay, go ahead.
How about a few fun facts? Okay, here we go. Ready? Number 1. Did you know the Rose Parade has never been held on a Sunday?
Why?
Okay, it's because of something called the Never on Sunday rule. So back in the day, nobody wanted the parade to conflict with church.
Oh.
So they made a rule that if January 1st ever fell on a Sunday, they'd move it to January 2nd. And it totally stuck.
Wait, but I want to know, when was the last time that happened? Because I feel like you wouldn't have as much viewership.
Okay, so it totally just happened. Like 2 years ago. Like December 31st, 2022, like, I guess, well, January 1st, 2023, was on a Sunday. So they moved it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
You probably did at the time, Amanda.
I mean, I probably just didn't watch it
Right,
because it didn't happen on the first.
right. And so you just like woke up, you probably watched some like rerun or
You know what?
something,
That
whatever
actually
it was.
kind of tracks up.
And then on the
because when
second, they did it. Yes.
When you said that, like, they skipped 1, like, I thought it was literally like last year.
No.
But that would make sense. It didn't get skipped. It was just on a Sunday.
That's the Never on the Sunday rule. Here we go.
Well,
Okay. Fun fact 2. Guess how many flowers are featured in the whole parade? Like all together on the floats combined.
Wait, all together? Oh, I don't know. All together. Maybe like 25 million?
Wow. So oddly closer than I thought. Like it's actually 40 million flowers.
That's a lot. And then not close at all.
But no, like kind of close. Because you could have said like 1 million. Or you could have said like 200 million. Like you ballpark. Like that's pretty close. You ballparked it. Like you were only like 1.5 times off. That was pretty good. 40 million flowers, people.
It's a lot of flowers.
It is.
Okay, I'm going to hijack fun fact. Are you
Wait, you're
ready?
hijacking?
Yeah, just for 1.
Okay, fine. What?
Okay, number 3. Do you know the second most popular flower besides roses that are used in the Rose Parade?
Yeah, apparently chrysanthemums.
No.
Oh, I don't know then. Like,
Carnations. You know why?
why?
Because they're super affordable and easy to grow. And they have a boatload of different colors. So it just makes everything so vibrant and
That
pretty.
does make a lot of sense. Why didn't they make it the carnation parade then instead of the chrysanthemum parade? Maybe it could have
they
stuck
could've
then
won.
if it was
They
cheaper.
could have
Right.
won.
They were
Well,
spending
not
too
even
much
cheaper.
money.
It would have been prettier. Lots
Right.
of colors.
Amen. Who would have known?
Too bad.
Thank you for
Missed
hijacking. That was a good, by the way, that was a good hijacking of fun facts. You are more than welcome to hijack my fun facts whenever you would like.
Okay.
Okay. Number 4. Do you know who the grand marshal of the parade is this year?
No idea. Taylor Swift?
No. Oh my God. That would go crazy. Like,
I don't think they could afford her.
right. She wouldn't even
So
do
that's
it.
fine.
Okay. Billie Jean King.
I'm sorry, who?
Okay. You're such a millennial.
I
Billie Jean
know.
King. Okay. Only
I
one
know
of
the name. It
you-
sounds familiar.
Okay.
Maybe?
The best women's tennis player ever to play. 39 Grand Slam titles, #1 ranking in the world multiple times. Won the Battle of the Sexes in 1973 when she beat Bobby Riggs. Huge, huge moment for gender equality and advocating for equal prize money. Like,
But clearly, she's a big deal.
she's a huge deal. She's Billie Jean King. You got to watch just for that. Shout out to Billie. Okay. Fun fact 5. Who holds the record for the longest float?
Disney.
Good guess. No. The record of longest float goes to the city of Los Angeles, who sponsored a float in 1994 measuring 125 feet long. Like, that's longer than some airplanes. That's like longer than the Statue of Liberty if you would like lay it down and drive it through the streets of Pasadena. That's freaking long. Okay, super fun fact. Do you know who the oldest participant is?
What do you mean?
Like the longest consecutive years of someone like sponsoring a float.
Oh, I don't know. The city of Pasadena?
Oh, totally. You nailed it.
I mean,
He's-
it started.
Okay, I want to say that they've sponsored every year that it was held since its inception, but fact check me on it. But like I'm close for sure, but like I don't know if there was
I
a
mean,
year or
it
two that I'm
tracks.
missing. Yes.
That seems logical
Yes. Okay.
enough to
Yeah.
me.
Well, duh, you nailed it, and now I'm embarrassed. Okay. Okay. Last one, number 6. What's the biggest attendance to ever be estimated or recorded?
I don't know. 500,000?
Okay, good guess. Because actually, it's estimated that crowds in recent years, like they hover around 750,000. So you're in the ballpark. Because I think it's apparently like that's all that can like fit on the streets of Pasadena and still get a good enough view. I think. But in 2004, for some reason, it was estimated that over 1 million people attended the event in person.
That's a lot of people. I would absolutely be claustrophobic and
right.
no thank you.
Me too. I would die.
Wait, why 2004 though? What was so special about 2004?
Okay, so I'm not exactly sure, but I'll speculate. Can I speculate?
Sure.
This is called sorta speculation right
Okay.
now, okay? I think it was sort of like a groundswell from post 9/11, and people were really getting back in the swing of things, and like national pride was super high. I suppose I get it. That could have happened in like 2003, but I think it just sort of all came together more in 2004. And also, I had to look it up, but this guy John Williams,
That's why.
yes, the
That's
Grand
why.
Marshal that year, he did all the music for Harry Potter. Harry Potter was
And
super
Star
huge.
Wars.
So yeah, so between like Harry Potter being super relevant, like national pride, the whole theme of the parade was music, music, music. So I think it just got like a crazy amount of attendance, and I would never have wanted to be there. And that's all I got. Fun facts are done.
Awesome. Every time. Because even today, they were good ones. So good job as always.
Thank you.
And before we wrap it up, you want to give us a recap, the part where I'm supposed to take notes so I don't forget any of the important stuff we just talked about?
All right, let's go. First and foremost, the obvious one, the thing Amanda and I are not going to do, go see the Rose Parade, people. Get it on the bucket list for sure. Once in a lifetime experience. You won't regret it. Can I say you won't regret it if we're both saying
know.
we don't want to go?
I don't know.
You know what, guys? You won't regret it. Amanda and I would regret it, but you would not regret it.
It is a once in a lifetime thing you should do.
Okay, fine. So go. Second, obvious one, support your local florists. Remember, people, the Rose Parade is a celebration of flowers. And buying from your neighborhood florist is a great way to embrace that spirit. Plus, you help small businesses bloom.
Nah, good pun.
Why wouldn't we want them to bloom?
Good pun.
Yes, I'm a punny guy. Third, maybe instead of going, if you don't want to, get involved and help. There it is. Amanda, I had it in here. Let's volunteer to help decorate a float. If you live in or around Pasadena, check out the official Tournament of Roses website to sign up. That way you can still be part of it, but not have to sit there with 1 million people waiting for the parade to start. And finally, remember these few important details to seem sort of sophisticated. The Rose Parade originally started in 1890, making it over 130 years old. It was created by Pasadena's Valley Hunt Club as a way to show off Pasadena's sunny winter weather and abundant gardens. And since then, it has grown into an internationally beloved tradition. It's all about community, creativity, and a little friendly competition. Number 2, never on Sunday rule. If New Year's Day falls on a Sunday, the parade is held on January 2nd. The tradition started in 1893 to avoid interfering with local church services. Number 3, each float is required to be covered entirely in natural organic materials like flowers, seeds, and bark, making them not just artistic, but eco-friendly masterpieces. It takes about 60 volunteers per float and thousands of hours to complete the design. Number 4, the Rose Bowl game, which started in 1902, was so lopsided in its first year that they replaced it with chariot races for over a decade before bringing football back in 1916. And finally, the Rose Queen is chosen through a month-long selection process that starts with interviews of young women in local high schools in the Pasadena area. Judges look for qualities like poise, speaking ability, academic achievement, and community involvement, culminating in the announcement of the Queen and her court in October.
And there you have it, fellow listeners, the story of the Rose Parade, or as we now know it, the Tournament of Roses. Just think, the next time someone mentions watching the parade on New Year's Day, they'll know there's so much more to it than flowers and float. You might even be able to say, actually, did you know it all started as a way to show off California's perfect winter weather? The Rose Parade is more than just a television event. It's a celebration of artistry, tradition, and the spirit of community. From its humble beginnings with horse-drawn carriages to today's awe-inspiring flower-covered masterpieces, it's a story that reflects creativity and resilience at its finest.
And it is such a beautiful display of florilegium, if I may say.
That it is. So, if we've done our job right today, you're leaving a bit more Sorta Sophisticated, ready to drop some fun facts at your next New Year's gathering or even impress your friends with a quick "Did you know?" during a coffee break. If you enjoy this episode, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with anyone who loves history, tradition, or just a good story. So until next time, stay curious and stay inspired.